right, we got Garrett Justin, been in the security industry for 20 plus years. You're making moves, adding on.
That's right.
How is security?
So
You take a deep breath when you say that.
that's right. It's rough. It's definitely a tough industry to get into because wages are super low. Everybody and their brother thinks they can open up a security company, and then you get people battling on rates, and it's basically 1,000 people chasing the same nickel. And it gets to the point where, you know, building teams is hard because you got to pay your guys a decent rate. Now insurance has tripled since the last time we talked, so that was another huge factor.
Okay, so how does that work? So if you're a bodyguard or security, or what's the difference?
So the insurance is basically to have for the nightclub aspect of things. Bodyguarding and insurance is very hard to obtain. So when it comes to those things, I partner with other companies that have their licenses and insurance, and I use their guys.
Oh, wow.
Or if it's somebody that I trust, I'll even send them to that company, sign up with them so they're legit, and then they can do the job or the gig or whatever it is. So it's gotten to the point where, I mean, insurance for the nightclubs is what was crazy. So it started out at like 35 and went up to 109.
Just to be a secure,
just to have bouncers in a nightclub.
You have to
If I didn't have the nightclubs, it would have been probably half of that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I brought in somebody that we partnered with, that I partnered with. And even during our partnership, I had to cut my percentage to up his because he was getting knocked left and right. And this last spring break was my last spring break. I hung up the spurs.
Enough was enough.
I'm done. Yeah.
Now, in that 20 years, it wasn't always like that, though.
No, I mean, so having my company, having my own company in the beginning, I basically had to build it as I went. I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is that I could build a team and assist clubs with security. So as I'm going, I mean, I got audited by the state twice. Somebody, yeah, people were, because I was making money, people were sitting there snitching on me saying, oh, he doesn't have a license this, he doesn't have a license that, when I'm really doing it legitimately the whole time. If a club wanted a contract with license and insurance, then I go to my companies that have all that stuff and I build a team. If it's just a bar that wants to pay $20 an hour to somebody to stand at the door, well, that's your employee. I'm just helping you guys, you know, recruit.
Oversee it kind of in a way, right?
Exactly. And then you cut me my check once a month or whatever it is. So in building, you know, I had to put the pieces together. Nightclub insurance is astronomical for security. So I was lucky enough to get invited to help out with Super Bowl. I don't know if we talked about this.
No.
Yeah. So there was a company here based out of Texas.
Last Super Bowl?
No, the one that, not Tampa, when it was here.
When it was here in Miami.
In Miami, yeah.
Okay. Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks. So a company out of Texas, Halo Security, they had a contract with the Super Bowl. They're based out of Texas. They give the Super Bowl some outrageous number as far as guards, the guards they can produce. So this guy gives them some crazy number, like 250 guards, and he's from Texas. He doesn't know anybody in Florida. So somebody gave somebody my name and it's like, hey, this guy can help you build a team. So for 3 weeks, I mean, bro, I'm calling everybody. I'm trying to have people go do their class real quick so they can do security for the Super Bowl. It takes about a week to do your D license class. Then you got to go through FBI checking and all this crap. So at the end of the day, I look like a stud because I produced basically what I could. And didn't really ask for anything in return. I'm just saying, hey, this is I just started my company and I'm part of the Super Bowl. So that was enough for me, you know? And, then, the company that I was with from Texas didn't have some insurance form signed or whatever. And they ended up losing it. So now I recruit all these guys and this company out of Texas didn't have their shit together. So, you know, sorry, but
that would have been such a blow because you're thinking portfolio, right? You're thinking, fuck, I have this on the portfolio.
And not only that, but I've made these promises. I got kids going to school, so get to be licensed, work the Super Bowl. So I get an email from somebody that I should never speak to. That's some high up Super Bowl, you know, committee, whatever. And he sends me an email, says, "Hey, I appreciate what you did. Unfortunately, the company, lost their spot, but there's this other company. We want to see you guys here." So they put me with another company, and the relationship I built with that guy is Apex Security. His name's Chad. Uh, Bro, the relationship we built is amazing. We trust each other. We didn't have, oh, sign this, just so there was no signing anything contracts. I'm offering you this. If you want it, you take it. We split it, and it's been the greatest relationship. So that
Oh, it was like the old days where we could sit here and just shake hands, and
Exactly.
we're actually going to both come through with what we're going to do. Can you fucking believe that exists?
So that's how I've always operated. You ask me to do something, I'm going to do it. We don't need to put it on paper. If it makes you feel better, sure, I'll sign whatever. But at the end of the day, a wink and a handshake, that's good enough for me.
See, that blows my mind because if I'm hiring security for my event, I would think that the event would have to have the insurance because you're coming there to not make the insurance have to pay.
Well, so in that light, those people are saving on their insurance by outsourcing it to somebody else.
But then think of the company. They're getting the double whammy, right? So now they're getting it from the club or the event, and they're getting it from the company who's bringing the security.
So if God forbid something happens, they're going after everybody. It's not like they're going after the venue. Anybody attached to this thing is getting a call from a lawyer.
They could throw 19 million different lawsuits, right?
100%.
Now, as you've gone along in that 20 years, when was the big change? Like when?
After COVID.
Everybody's right after COVID.
Right after COVID. So it was.
And what was the first thing you saw where like the cops weren't there and you really had to step
off their couch?
Oh.
You're going to give up your $600 check to come make $750, $800 and work 40 hours, or you're going to sit home and make your 600?
Oh, I see. Because they're just handing out money.
And bouncers aren't the most
motivated at times.
Exactly.
Not all,
Exactly.
but some, right?
Some. So it's hard to build a team. So I did so well pre-COVID because I had a team behind me. Now, most of those guys have gone on and done big shit. One of them is actually with a team that does Trump Jr. And DeSantis when they travel.
They have the same team.
That's
funny.
They use one of them. I'm sure. I think they use a few, but this one particular team, I see them on the little campaign trails and stuff like that, and we keep in touch. And then I have a guy in Miami that is, he's with Takashi right now doing, they go to DR and stuff like that. So
I hope he's got an army behind him.
Bro, he's honestly, from what I see, he got his ass beaten in LA Fitness, and it was funny. The dude that beat his ass his wife is a friend of mine.
Oh yeah.
So I see him on my Facebook feed one day, and I'm like, wait, that guy looks familiar. And so.
And things just aren't like they used to be. Like before, that guy could never walk out in the street again. I don't know the whole story.
I feel like there's a lot of acting going on there.
Oh,
because if you did what you did, would you be acting and driving the LA Fitness in your Lambo by yourself?
That's what I thought.
Would you work out in your private gym at home
at least for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
You just took down how many people, they're doing 20, 30, but then you have to say to yourself, he's got to have some sense because he's made a lot of money, so you have to have some type of brains. And for him to just be rolling around, and as soon as he got out of jail, right? Wasn't he rolling around all over the place? I saw him on TMZ.
So the funny part there is I was actually in bids for that contract.
Were you
after
really?
all this happened.
That would have been a good one to get.
It was a great opportunity, but after I saw what I saw, I'm glad I didn't get it, because it was a couple weeks later, his security team is wheeling him down the street in a red wagon while he's eating ice cream. Did you see that video?
Oh yeah, because his jaw was wired up, right?
No, it was like a fuck you to anybody that wanted to come get him.
When I saw that, I literally thought that was because somebody rocked him and he was trying to cover it up, No,
he was. So I don't know about the jaw thing, but this was literally right after all the shit happened. Not the beat down, the original shit.
The original shit
where he went
when he ratted and everything else. Yeah.
There was that scene. He literally put it out there so everybody could see him eating ice cream, getting wheeled down the street. So that security company, I think they lost that contract. I don't know if they lost it or walked away from it right after that. And then you see all the clips of him getting people trying to jump him in the streets and stuff like that, bro. That was a bunch of headaches I didn't even need. But
Yeah, but that paycheck might have been worth
it was, I think it was like 1.3 or something like that for the year.
fucking money.
Yeah.
So that tells me that when he's moving like that, that he must have not have ratted on certain guys,
Mhm.
and the ones that he ratted on got the okay. Like, hey, look, you can rat on them, but not us, and we'll make sure these guys don't fuck with you.
Who knows?
Who knows these days
Who knows?
anymore,
You sign
right?
that contract, bro. Who knows what's in those
Who
contracts?
knows? Who knows? But that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
So you saw it around COVID, and what did you see? The police not there, or more?
No. So, especially in Fort Lauderdale on the beach, the clubs have a police presence. So it wasn't a police presence; it was just people not wanting to go back to work, and it just, like I said, unmotivated. It's hard to find people to get a. It's hard to get a contract at a decent rate so you can pay your guys a decent rate, and then to have to pay bills on top of that is too much. And mind you, I have a full-time job. I'm with the same guy 60 hours a week, so I'm doing all this shit and at night and on the weekends and stuff like that. It's ready to go crazy. But this last spring break was, and I got to be honest, there was a few years where I said this is my last, and the years following were gifts. I looked at it like that. But this year was just all the headaches of building the team, and then there was a couple issues with some of the staff members because I had to outsource to other people. So some of the staff members weren't doing good, and I was getting phone calls from the owners. So it was just better to pass the torch. Basically,
when you lose your main surroundings, that's it. Because now you're, in my opinion, now you're trying to mold someone new into not what made the company the way it is.
Exactly.
Right? In a sense.
Exactly.
Now, when did you see the cop thing? Because I saw where just everyday average people were like hiring security and bodyguards just to go to dinner and everything else, where they weren't calling the cops, they were hiring security people, like an average person.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, now you have companies that actually specialize in stuff like that. And the only thing I can say is where there's an opportunity, someone's going to jump on it. Now, one of the things that I think people confuse here is to be able to chauffeur somebody and advertise that you're doing security is a lot of money. So if you're not charging $200 an hour, $250 an hour, something shady's going on. So if you're claiming that you're doing security and picking someone up in an Escalade and the rate is $125 an hour, something's fishy there, but a lot of times people, especially in Miami, they just want the look. So that's what I ask people when I consult now, is furthest I'll go. So I ask people, do you want security or do you want to appear to have security? Because it's not the same, and it's not the same price.
This episode is brought to you by Fiji. More than just water.
This is not just rock. It's ancient volcanic rock that filters tropical rain, giving it double the electrolytes and its signature soft, smooth taste. It's not just water, it's Fiji water.
This episode is brought to you by Let's Get Checked. Are you the man your father was? Recent studies have shown that men's testosterone levels have dropped substantially since the 1980s at about an average of 1% per year. Think about how old your father was when he was born. For example, if he was 30, your testosterone levels could be 30% lower than his. Low testosterone levels can have all types of health effects on men. It can affect your mood, sex drive, memory, muscle mass loss, you name it. And yes, low testosterone is more common the older you get, but it can affect men at any age. So let's talk about today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked. You can order a testing kit that will be delivered to you in a discreet packaging with next-day delivery. Once your sample arrives in the laboratory, confidential results will be available from your secure online account within 2 to 5 days. So, if you want to test your hormone levels without having to leave your home, visit trylgc.com/MSCS Media and get 25% off your test using the code MSCS Media. The link is in the description at the top. Yeah,
So,
and I bet you when you say it's not the same price, they tell you the truth, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's
hey, Garrett, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when it comes to this security, for from a liability standpoint, I'm sure you have some clients, like, for example, Takashi, the rapper. And
he's not my client, but
right.
Yes, yeah.
But someone in the same realm. Say that person is like, they hire security. I don't want you to neutralize whoever's coming at me. I want you to give it to them.
Okay.
So how do you navigate the fine line between, okay, this client wants me to neutralize whoever's coming at me, and this guy wants me to hand this person an ass kicking.
Right.
So they never mess with me again.
So it depends on how much you like your job and the person that you're working for, because the law is the law.
Right.
So in that aspect, if the client's not a good fit for you, walk away. If you don't mind popping someone in the face and catching 6 months, anger management and a battery charge, then.
Well, let me ask you this: when you get into an altercation like that, is that person able to come after your LLC, or can they come after the person directly who did it?
They can come after anybody that's attached to the situation. If that client was paying me to do a job, they can go after that client. They go after me. They buy an insurance company.
Oh, man, you must have a lot of insurance.
That's
what we're talking about. Now I see.
I just consult now, and I farm it out to people that actually have the proper insurance and licenses, because it was just too much. It's just too much.
I've always wondered that about personal security like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. And then that makes sense why the insurance is so much, because they can come and nail every single person individually.
Exactly.
And what are you going to do? Nothing.
You can't do nothing. Can't do anything. So that's why, again, you get to this, you're back up against the wall where you have to fill a bill and hire guys, but then you have to vet these guys and make sure they're not going to pop somebody and stuff like that.
They're not loose cannon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I got sued. Well, I didn't get sued. My partner actually got sued, which is the loophole. But it was I'd gone, what we did, 5-6 years, no lawsuits. One of my best friends got me in trouble. And
that usually works.
Yeah, so it's all good though.
And what I don't understand is they tell the cops you can't do this, because we've had cops and like good cops, like cops that actually want to be cops, not just put on the uniform, and they don't know what to do. Like, what do you do? I had Yaomi Park. She's from North Korea defector. Am I saying that right, Danny? Defector from North Korea, Yaomi Park. She left. She went through hell to get here. And when she was in, she's like, America is turning just like North Korea. And she was in New York with her son. And somebody had come up and tried to give her son a lollipop with fentanyl in it. A cop was right there in New York. And she went to the cop and she's like, do you see this? Now, I was going to ask her, like, well, how do you know it had fentanyl in it? Yeah. But just because she's very out there as a public speaker and another country, I didn't feel the need to. She must have been in an area. And when she had gone to the cop and said, there's nothing you could do, like, did you just see this? And he said, my hands are tied. So, because there's like a certain amount, even with the fentanyl at that time.
I think there's an issue where I think the cop has to see it himself. You can't bring it to him like, hey, this just happened, because that ruins everything. But then again, is he want to go through the hassle of having to search somebody, possibly fill out paperwork later, say the person touched him the wrong way, so it's tough to be a cop, dude. Listen, I went through the tests to become a cop. That's where I was going until I found out what the annual salary was. And then but I was geared to do that, and now what I see they have to go through, bro, it's not just when you're a cop, it's not just a job, bro. It's your entire lifestyle. Because when you're not working, you're training, or you're in a seminar, or you're in a class, or it's a lot of work. So to do that, you either have to love what you do, or you're doing it because you don't have another option.
And when I had asked her further about it, because she's an activist, and she was there to do like a big TED talk or something, so she had gone to like the chief. And the chief had said to her, well, the amount isn't enough, this, that, the other. Then she went to the police force and was like, what do you guys think? And the ones that would participate were all saying, well, if we go up to this guy and we search him and say we grab his dick by accident, or say it's a woman and we touch her tit, right? Now we're in a sexual harassment lawsuit charge with, You know, I touched her inappropriately. And now just checking somebody for drugs that may be going to a kid, I touch them wrong. Now I'm in a case. So unless there's a certain amount and it's obvious, what do you do as a cop? So then when I was reading everything about you and I saw how like security had gone up for a time period there, that makes sense because cops don't know what to do.
So, and what I did see, and I think Chicago was one of the first that actually made it public that they were doing this, is neighborhoods were teaming up and getting security teams for their individual neighborhoods.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy, but cool.
Cool.
You know,
but sad that you have to go to that point.
Exactly. And then again, funding. Like, I've been in South Florida for the last 30 years. I don't see as many cops on the street as I used to.
Never.
I travel and I say to my girlfriend all the time, like, I haven't seen one cop. We were just in Orlando for Epcot for New Year's. I didn't see any cops outside of Disney.
On New Year's?
In the place we were staying in outside of Orlando.
Wow.
I said to her, I was like, you know, we've been here 3 days. I don't think I've seen one cop.
And if you remember, they had like hot zones everywhere. Everywhere was a hot zone.
Yeah.
But then again, who the fuck wants to be a cop right now?
Right.
And be told what to do. You can't do this. Everything's bullying. And then the younger generation, as we'll get to, because you have some great Instagram posts.
Oh, shit.
You know, they're not even worried about it.
Right.
And speaking of, you know, this table sitting right here, during that time period, I could not find someone to build this dumb table. This isn't like rocket. To me, it's rocket science.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel you.
But I called, and they'd be like, June. You remember that? And I'd offer like double what this would ever cost.
Right.
And they're like, nope, June, you know, we're backed up. You couldn't get anything done.
Yeah.
Nothing. Now, when you heard that Chinese balloon, you know, the balloon that they shot down years and years later?
Oh, yeah.
You know, a couple years later, it was up there. They just let it pass because they didn't want to shoot it down when it was over like a cat maybe or something.
Whatever.
Right? Now, when you see that, do you look at that as, you know, security guy, like something's not right here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
how does a security guy like you have 20 years process that?
So you start thinking, okay, what's the motive? Right. Okay. And then it's, for me, I always step back and instead of, oh my God, it's a balloon, like, okay, what happened before the balloon, you know, got here? And, you know, without getting too much into it, the fact that they let people know about the balloon tells you something right there. If there was something shady, crazy about the balloon, they wouldn't say anything. So I just leave it at that. You know,
I thought that
this
too.
day and age, you can't believe anything you see or read or hear. Even on Joe Rogan's videos, I get some advertisement. It looks like he's talking, but it's not. It's a voiceover. They're promoting some product or something like that.
The one reporter who did the hard hitting stuff, Jamal Khashoggi, and they now have him sitting in a prison, maximum security prison in the UK.
Oh yeah.
What happened to the Tate guy?
So
we'll save that for later. I want to take the shirt off before we start talking
about Tate. Yeah. About Tate. Yeah, they're hanging in there. Okay. I had their Laura on, both of them. I like Tristan a lot. Okay. We can go back to that, but yeah, I don't get it. Then you got the UFO shit, and I won't go down the rabbit hole. But again, as security, why all of a sudden? That had the deflect. You're not just going to come all of a sudden and say, hey, let's have a UFO fucking department to report to.
So I think there's always been a UFO department. I think it's something that's gone on since before you and I were born. But at the end of the day, why now? Why show it to you now? What's coming up that you want us to think this is a thing or something like that? So I don't know. This is one of those things where I'm just gonna have my popcorn and watch.
You know what's funny is if it was anything, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah,
like I think they thought they were gonna put that up, and India had the fate. Was it India? It might have been whatever. It was some Mexico maybe. They had the bodies, Everybody's like, "Oh my God, there's bodies," and they did a DNA test, and it wasn't bodies.
I didn't get that far down.
Yeah, I was on my rabbit hole. So
yeah, I got you.
It's absolutely crazy. And it's just one thing after another with this shit.
Yeah, and what's coming up?
What do you see coming up?
It's an election coming up. So
right. How concerned were you on New Year's for New York? Did you think that was just a bunch of hype?
I didn't hear anything about New York.
I mean, just that everything was elevated.
Is one thing since the shift or the transformation is I don't give attention to many things anymore. I don't really watch TV.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't really watch TV. I even, occasionally I'll ask my Alexa a question if I need to.
I'm surprised you have an Alexa.
I have an Alexa. I don't listen.
I happen to have one in my house now too.
It's too convenient to not be able to say, "Hey, play this song," and jam out to your favorite song, So
I hate it because I have to say, "Alexa, turn the kitchen light on." I just want to fucking switch.
Oh, so I didn't go that far.
Oh, wow.
I just use her for what I need her.
I didn't
for.
have a choice.
An Alexa.
I do not. That was
what's the difference between that and your phone?
Probably nothing.
If you want, and listen, this literally happened the other day. A buddy of mine at the office is taking NMN.
Yeah,
and I asked him. I said, "Hey, where'd you get it?" He tells me Black Forest Labs. I got an ad for Black Forest Labs on my phone.
Yeah.
So if it ain't just Alexa, it's your car, it's your phone.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's everything.
Just assume they know everything.
And fucking Epstein was in here and really freaked me the fuck. He's the crazy, not crazy at all.
Mm.
What they did to him is crazy. They killed his wife. It was supposed to be him, but they killed his wife.
I don't.
Okay, so to make Dr. Epstein, wonderful, wonderful, great guy. He's the top behavioral psychologist in the world. And he was studying the behaviors of Google and how that's affecting everything. And within that, and this is a Democrat, keep in mind. And within that, he was seeing how Google, he's heavy, like he's at the same pace as Google. So he stopped that red wave bullshit for them fucking it up. He was that good. He's got things in red lights. I mean, on the top.
Gotcha.
So he sees with data and facts that Google is fully being manipulated by what's coming up for the election. So he gets called in to testify in front of the Senate. He literally says during it, he goes, I'm just a father of 5. I'm a behavioral psychologist. And within that, I was studying the behaviors of people in Google and so on and so forth. Yeah. But he lays it out during the Senate with, the whole PowerPoint and everything. As he's walking out, Lindsey Graham says to him, they're going to kill you. Now, keep in mind, Dr. Epstein is a great guy, but he's the type of guy, they don't leave their house. They just study labs and study and study. Yeah. They don't do podcasts and they don't do this shit. So he brushes it off like whatever. 2 weeks later, wife says, "Hey, I'm going to go to get milk, Robert." She takes his car, goes and gets it. It's raining. The brakes burn out. Car spins. She passes away. Nobody can find the car. 9 months later, through his satellites, he finds it burned up in Mexico. Neither him or her family agreed to the cremation. There was never an investigation. So he did it on his own. Everyone had said that it looked like the brakes were cut. And he went further, but he had to stop because he's a father of 5 and he didn't want to lose himself. He just wanted closure with the car. Yeah. And what was nuts, Garrett, was nuts. So we're almost 4 hours in and he's like, they killed my wife. And I look over and go, what? Wait, what? Yeah. Wait. Do you want me to stop right now? Sir, I appreciate your time. They did what?
Wow.
And that was the first time. Yeah. What they'll do.
That's insane.
I think China killed Obama's fucking guy and threw him in the water with his pants down.
See, I might have heard a clip of something like that, but I don't.
What do you think happened with that?
I don't.
Let's see what he's got to say about this.
So you're talking about Barack Obama's chef
that was found in the water.
He was paddleboarding.
Okay, I did hear about that.
He was paddleboarding.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know if I'm that big into these conspiracies, but so many of these things just don't make sense. The paddleboarding thing, I can't remember if they said he could swim or if he couldn't, but he was 20 yards from shore.
Let's do the plus one shit and then get into that,
Yeah,
stuff.
Pull up tab 1. We'll start with the security ones. We can see where you're
because
going.
I got from a security standpoint with that shit.
Yeah. So let's click there. Okay. Click away from that. Scroll down. So take us through this a little bit.
Okay, so this was South Florida Security Circuit. This is where I started. The website actually didn't come up till probably halfway through the success. But yeah, this is where, I kind of did a little bit about the company, where it's from, my history, a little bit to entice people to understand that, there's different levels of security. And then,
so stop right there. So armed security. So now you're using that with high profile people, celebrity people.
It could be banks, jewelers.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Banks, jeweler. And then when you do commercial security, is that like an office building type of thing?
So commercial security, more like your loss prevention, warehouses, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Commercial industrial kind of stuff.
It's got
construction site.
Boring.
That would be a team roaming a piece of property, etc.
Yeah, usually it's one guy at night when there's nobody there. They want to guard on the property.
Boring as sin.
Turret, yeah.
Fucking
car
boring.
lots,
And then event, that would be like Wheels, Wings, and Fashion and on.
Stuff like that.
And then personal would just be anybody personal.
So yeah, that's kind of like what I do now. It's kind of morphed into a different position, but
that's your bread and butter.
Yeah, that's my bread and butter. So the person that I work for, I've been with him 5 years now. And we actually were friends before we were both successful, bumped into each other.
That's always the best.
Yeah, bumped into each other again, and now we are both partners with Plus One.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Great. And then last one on here, what the executive security or executive protection
ties into the personal security.
Okay, so you've kind of moved to the bottom 3.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Like those.
Yeah.
Smart,
right? Yeah.
No headaches there.
No headaches there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: when you are personally in personal security, say, for example, I don't know if you can say who you guard, but are you armed in those scenarios as well?
So, but yeah, licensing is a huge thing. So, in my day-to-day grind now, on paper, I am an office manager.
Okay.
But I personally can carry.
Okay.
So I
if needed.
Yeah,
right.
I carry anyway.
Anyone can carry now.
Yeah.
In the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Really?
Did you know that?
Yeah, they got rid of the concealed weapon permit.
Get the fuck out of here.
DeSantis made it. You don't need anything as long as you're not a convicted felon. You can carry a firearm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't got a problem with the guy, but that was a political thing.
Yeah. So my that was either a middle finger to somebody, or my question is
got a good idea.
Who's going to police all this crap? I'd be curious to see what the statistics are of non-violent firearm crimes.
I was about to say that because after about a year of these people
assuming they can just carry a gun, because you have to be disciplined to carry a gun. You can't get in an argument with somebody at McDonald's and pull your shit.
Wait, so I can get a gun if I don't have a felon? I can get a gun with no training.
Correct.
Yeah. Bro,
wow.
You got a 5-day waiting period, and then you can go pick it up. If you have your concealed weapons permit, they give it to you right there.
Here's my theory on this. Ron DeSantis is the biggest constitutionalist, in my opinion.
You're just too young. You don't understand. This is for political. He would have done this 3 years ago if he really felt that.
Well, he's definitely a hard right Republican.
Yeah, no, he is. He's hard right. He's hard right Republican. Go to the next tab. This is fucking cool. Now tell me all about this.
This is the new baby.
All right. So break all this down for me.
Better. The pictures are better. Everything.
You got the yachts, the villas.
Yeah.
So first off, what are you doing with villas?
Okay, so
click on villas.
Let's backtrack like 4 years. When was COVID?
COVID was
19.
20 to 21 was the banger, right?
Was it? So like 2018, we had a Airbnb on Las Olas. That plugged us into the luxury real estate market. We ended up making friends and had a good relationship with a few Airbnb brokers.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually our crib. That's not something we pulled off of Google. So yeah, that's where the real estate part started. And then for shits and giggles, he ended up buying a Sprinter limo as a pretty much a personal vehicle, like it was the daily driver, you know. And then it just all kind of snowballed. We had a meeting one night. He knew that I was, you know, security's always been my thing. He's always had a high luxury background. So we thought, why not put them both together and create +1 concierge?
So let me see if I get this straight.
This is really cool, man.
Some independently wealthy people are coming into Fort Lauderdale. They're going to have a great vacation weekend for a week. They rent this, you know, top of the line Airbnb that potentially comes with security,
limousine service, exotic cars. We got chefs. We do everything.
Got it.
So the thing is you come in now. Normally you would have a handler who's got to call 27 different people to do 27 different things.
Believe me, I know all about it.
We do everything. We do everything.
Stop shop.
Yeah. If you have clients that come in, you say, this is the client, this is the date, we arrange everything else.
Yeah. So like even with this, so say somebody's flying in, okay? Like earlier on, you got to go book them the flight, or at the time, or have a scheduler to do the flight, so I don't have to worry about it because God forbid they're delayed. You know, I don't want that call, so somebody's there for them. Then I needed somebody to book the hotel because some people want, you know, 3rd floor, 2nd floor, and if they're high up there, they want that floor, and there's no other floor, and that's the end of it. And that could be a real pain in the ass. And then if I do it, then I have to be there to check them in because it's under me. It's like all, and then that's just that. Then you got to get the car to go to the airport and say, hey, you might have to wait because it's going to be late. B6, B5. It's a bitch. And I can just hire you guys.
You get one handler, and that's your contact the entire time you're in town.
And you know whatever business you're in, if that car's got to wait, you're getting cooked by the hour from the car. Then you're getting cooked from the going back to the plane.
So we are.
I'm not saying like
reasonable with things like that. We had a client come in from Italy. His flight was actually delayed like 6 hours. They were pacing the airport for like 3 or 4 hours before they could land. And you know, we didn't bang him too bad, but you know, we had to compensate for fuel and time and all that stuff. So, but it was reasonable. He was happy. He gave us an amazing Google review.
And for me would be the one-stop shop thing, because I don't have Shannon, the flight lady. I don't have this guy, the booking with the flights. I don't have this driver, and then this, and then that, and then
a client comes in, I'll put them in a group chat, so it's at least me and the driver or the handler, and that way at least 2 people are attentive to what your needs are. And I mean, it just works.
Now, if somebody just wants to rent a villa for the weekend, do they just do that?
They can do that
and just go to the website and click on call for.
So you call us, you tell us, you know, where you'd like to be, Miami, West Palm, you know, Las Olas, whatever.
And what's apply to be listed mean?
If you want to add your,
like if you would have one.
Yeah, if you want.
Oh, that's even cooler.
Yeah, for sure.
Go to yachts. Now, what are you doing? What are you doing with yachts now, too?
So we actually have we just from being in the network and you know, Las Olas locals, we have a lot of friends. A lot of them have yachts themselves or are brokers for large yacht brokers.
Las Olas is the yacht capital of the world.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The interior canals have so much docking that it makes it the yacht.
Yeah, we just had the boat show in October.
Good move there, Garrett.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Got some ideas, huh?
Yeah. So so yeah, and you know, this is where we tried to tie in everybody that we could that could bring something to the table. And again, you can book a yacht for $2,500, or you can book a yacht for $25,000.
So if you book a yacht for $2,500, right?
Yeah.
So what do we get for the $2,500?
So it would you're maxed out, I think, at like 12 passengers, because I think the max is 14. You can only have 14 unless you own the boat yourself or something, or the captain owns the boat himself or something like that. So that would pretty much, you know, that's low rent. You probably just get the yacht. Some of them, if you get into like the 5,000, 6,000, they'll come with the yacht, jet skis, and like the floatable island that you can put out and people just.
And then it's an all day.
So 6 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
More than 8 hours on the waters, you're not gonna have fun anymore.
You're done.
Yeah.
Danny, what size is that? He's big with boats. What size do you think that first?
That was $120.
What size is that one?
Oh man, I can't even tell from that shot.
How close is he on that first one?
I'm trying to see if you.
We'll go back. It's worth waiting for.
Yeah.
So you got jacuzzis, man. How many yachts do you have there? That one. There? How big is that though?
That one actually. So some of these shots come from the broker, so I'd have to look up the list. That one I think is actually a 90-something foot.
90-something.
Yeah. Catamarans are that's a different species.
Yeah.
When you say different species, what does that mean?
There's a lot that goes into it. Catamarans are made to cut through waves better.
Good stuff in there. And then go to the luxury rides.
Unfortunately, I stay off the boats.
Dude,
I get motion sickness pretty bad.
you get motion sickness?
It's bad. Yeah.
So you got how many of these fucking things do you have?
Okay, so we have 2. There's 5 total in our network. We have about 6 Escalades, 3 Yukons, a Maybach. Yeah, there's a whole list of cars.
Go down to the Escalade. Third one down. Is that the one that like most people, or is that the one?
So this one right here is just the base model one. We have the V available. And then we also have a few that have like the star ceiling and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, you got the stars. I was gonna do that here.
Yeah.
Instead of that.
I got a guy.
You do have a guy.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to you about that.
I mean,
because when I tell you what this other guy wants, you wouldn't believe it.
Okay.
You won't believe it.
I'll be.
Yeah. Now, you know when you were saying like the people that just want to look like they have security, my money says they get the Escalade.
For sure. $125 an hour.
Now, the ones that really want it, which ones do they get?
The Sprinter van.
So yeah, the Sprinter vans is where we make. That's where we make our money. Yeah.
And go to security. So you still did implement that even over here.
Yeah, read.
Okay.
I had to be specific with the wording.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. We network with the most elite security agencies in South Florida to bring you licensed and trained security professionals that will ensure every aspect of your experience protected and secure. Executive protection, security drivers, the whole 9, and you look really good.
Thanks, buddy.
So you got the package there.
Yeah.
You should do really, really, really well with
We
it.
spent a pretty penny on this website.
And you know that 125 for that Escalade is cheap.
Yeah.
That's really cheap.
Yeah, that's what we, try to entice people with when we give them a range of pricing.
You're going to drop that going from, if you go from here to Fort Lauderdale Airport and back, you're spending more than that.
Probably.
Just to get
On
dropped
Uber?
off with, on an Uber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's like a Fugazi Escalade.
Yeah, so we try to do like a 3-hour minimum. If we do decide to do an airport run, we, try to limit those. But it's all about the drivers. If they're available and they need to work and they can work, we'll send them. If not, we'll farm it out to somebody else.
And the best way is the website. And then you have Instagram too.
Yeah,
Where-
there's an Instagram page.
Click on the Instagram page here. It's on the right-hand side, upper right-hand side, or right there. Even better. If it pops up. Hit follow on there.
So that's one of our hopefully new clients. We still have a few meetings to go through, but Damon from Daily Driven Exotics,
Oh, okay.
he did a really
Queen Bee.
video shoot for us at
Scroll down a little
the
bit.
airport.
They really did those limos up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Play that 70 Ferretti. Play that one. That's a sweet looking boat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it doesn't make sound.
And then we do little specials here and there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good idea. And what sparked the idea? What sparked the idea to bring all that luxury in?
So I got to give that credit to my boy.
Yeah.
He did that.
He came home with anything.
And he's invested quite a bit of time, effort, and finances into this baby. So
And I think this is where everything's going to be headed, at least for now,
yeah,
with security and renting, because who can buy a house? Unless you're really, really, really loaded,
mm-hmm.
who's going to be able to get a house in New York, a house in Florida, and then a yacht in Florida.
Yeah.
Even if you're loaded, it's just better to do it like this.
Yeah. And I think the insurance is the thing that's crazy.
Fucking killing everybody. Yeah. And you know what they always say about boats? Well, Ford was fix or repair daily.
Bust out another 1,000.
Yeah, bust out another 1,000. Yeah, well, when I had one in Jersey, whew. What's that? Oh yeah, you and your boats, yeah. Man, these are nice.
Yeah, so in the luxury transportation market, the Sprinter game has done exactly what the security. It's almost like every time I get into something, the wave goes right behind me. So now everybody wants to buy a Sprinter, own a Sprinter, limos. So these that we have, they're like 200 grand. Okay. Yeah. They come from a company called Ultimate Toys. They take months to build to your specs, specifications, all that stuff. And then you'll get people that want to haggle that'll come around and, pick you up in something that looks like it was put together, on a DIY.
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah. We're in Florida, so you'll see a Lamborghini that isn't a Lamborghini.
Yes. Kit cars.
It's kit cars. Yeah.
So
I had one a long time ago. So when I would see like a yellow one or orange one, like, nah, no way. They're not. But we're in Miami. When I went down there, I know too much about it.
Gotcha.
So now, where you see things right now with the security, the law, how do you see us coming out of that? How do things get better?
So, it really just comes down to people governing themselves. And this is one thing I try when I have meetings and, I'm trying to educate people. It's control is an illusion. Nobody has any idea what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. Okay. So, people really have to govern themselves, and we can only do so much. But until people start not living in fear, I think it's the fear that manifests itself. That's what it is.
The craziest of anything I heard to me, Rob, right? So Rob's son's 11, 12. I think it's the one that's 11 or 12. He's going into school and there's a cat, like a person on a leash walking into school, into the classroom. And you have to call the cat Kitty Jane, right? Name isn't Jane, but let's just pretend her name is Jane. If you don't, you get detention. So his kid got written up because he's like, I'm not calling her a cat. Literally got written up in whatever grade you're in at 11, 12th grade.
Yeah.
A cat walking into, can you imagine that? Like a human being walked by another human, but that other human's dressed like a cat. Now, I know they got it off social media, but the fact that the school is like reprimanding if you don't call it a cat.
So that's a good question. And I'm going to pass that off. One day, if I come back again, I want to bring a couple of the guys who can speak.
Anytime you want.
But one of my guys actually works for the school board, Broward County.
I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
Bro, he's
just like, what the fuck is going on?
One of my good friends. Yeah, I met him. It's actually funny. We're both sitting in a vet. I had my dog, he had his dog, and we're the two biggest dudes in the room. So I had to say hi, and I asked him what he did for a living. And I think I put him on a gig like within a couple of weeks, and we just hit it off. And now he's one of my top go-to guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All this that's happening, if you go back, there was this guy named Yuri, I can never say his name, from the Soviet Union. Can you pull that up? His name's Yuri something from the Soviet Union. And he came out in like 83 and had said that for 40 years, they had all this lined up, that they would slowly infiltrate the education, right? Infiltrate this, infiltrate that word. No, it would be 39 years of KGB. Third one. So they're like, you implement it through education and this way, till you get to the point where nobody knows what's what. Like, what's the law? What's a girl? What's a guy? What's who? What's everything? And then you have all this divide and all this destruction. And it's the third one over. So right, here, 39 years ago, a KGB defector chillingly predicted modern America. Scroll down. Across the world, the KGB did whatever it could to thwart pro-Western anti-Soviet political movements and figures. The group would assassinate political leaders with cyanide and other weapons, blah, blah. So he goes on to basically say what is happening now.
Yeah.
Then Paul Harvey in the... Do you know who that is? All right, we're back from Piston.
Gotcha.
We were talking about Howard Stern when you were gone. And Scott the engineer. And Howard had gotten all that money. And Scott's my boy. And he can't say much because Howard buckled his ass because Scott resigned. You know, and within that resigning, Howard made him basically sign all his rights to him so he could never make money off of him, anything at all. He did the same with Stuttering John. He fucked all of those guys. And what I was telling him was that when Scott's wife had cancer, Howard would not help him and made him take down the GoFundMe and everything. He ended up getting it through another fan and then went back. And then they were having this battle. So it would be like Danny's over there with the soundboard and I'm here and I'm paying Danny to run the sound as a sound engineer, right? But I have a board here. So Danny would correct it so we're all equal and Danny's Scott, but I'm over here Howard and I want to make sure that I sound better than everybody else. So now I'm fucking with mine. Now Scott, as a professional sound engineer, it would drive him nuts because it's not equal, right?
Yeah.
So when that's your profession and it's not equal, you're going to go absolutely crazy.
Exactly.
So without the pay and all the other shit, and then him really fucking with him over there, they were pushing him out.
Yeah.
Then when he went to resign, and I could say it, he can't. He made him sign everything where he couldn't sell a mug that says Scott the engineer, to the point where he had to sell his house in New York, move down here. Nobody would buy it in New York because at the time, nobody in the right mind would want to live there.
Yeah,
so now here's a guy on Howard Stern who over time with Sirius got paid over $1 billion with a B. Never paid these guys more than $100,000 and runs them the fuck out with all their rights. And he's in a fucking germaphobe box, doesn't leave, and signed another $300 million for 2 days a week.
That's insane.
His bank account was pretty good, though.
I can't speak for people like that. If I have $20 in my wallet and I see a homeless person and I can't break the 20, I give the homeless person the $20. Wow. You know? Yeah.
Now, when you see that, right? Like, do you think like a Howard was always like that? Or do you think that the money and the fame got to him? Do you think you get turned like that?
I can't speak for somebody like that, because when you have unlimited resources and you're not doing right by them, there's going to come a consequence at some point for that behavior, whether it's now or the next journey, you know. But I can't speak like that, because if I had that kind of money, I'd be doing way different things, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean I can't speak for the guy, but the podcast and the porn stars and all that stuff just seems like he's not a great guy to be friends with, you know? Or a great guy to be friends with, depending on what you want from your friends, you know.
So earlier on, I had heard that in person, he's a completely different type of guy. So like say 15 years ago, people that I would have run into back then that knew him or knew of people around him would say he's nothing like he is on air. Then when he went to Sirius shortly after that, then the tone, almost when Trump got in, it was like he switched. He kind of got, you know, went down that rabbit hole of like the dark, whatever.
I never really watched the thing. I might have saw the one where he had, what's the wrestler's name that's doing all the movies now?
The Rock?
No. Fuck that
guy. Oh, the white guy?
Yeah.
Who? Shannon something.
No. It's the older one. He was in the Fast and Furious movies.
Who's in the Fast and... Vin Diesel.
No.
Okay. I got Vin Diesel.
No, that's the Rock.
Tyrese?
No, I don't think he's a white dude. Jacked, super jacked white dude.
Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No.
You gotta remember that one. That's all right.
This dude's name, but I never really watched Howard Stern. You know,
remember E Entertainment? Remember at night?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's that. I think it was
John Cena.
That's it.
John Cena. That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah, I saw the episode with John Cena, and I think that was it. And then maybe one or two other ones, but that was never. Howard Stern was never my thing. Yeah,
I listened to him in the car, but this was in the early 2000s. That's who I was listening to when 9/11 happened.
Oh shit!
Where were you at when 9/11 happened?
I remember I was walking. I was living with my mom at the time, walking down the stairs. We're in a apartment. I was walking down the stairs from the second floor, and as I'm going down the thing, the door flies back open, and she says, "Oh my God, get back in the house!" And so I went in, and then I saw the TV, and the first thing we did was call my uncle because they all live in New York, and he was in the city when it happened, but not near what happened. So,
where were you at?
I was in the 3rd grade.
Oh, Jesus.
And I remember when they ended school and everyone's parents are picking them up. And I remember my parents wouldn't pick me up for anything. And I'm looking at my best friend and I'm like, there's no way my parents are picking me up. I couldn't understand what was going on. I was too young. And then my mom came and picked me up and I was like, whoa, this must be really serious. What's going on here?
Isn't that funny that everybody can remember that?
Yep.
Now, do you think if something like that happened again, that would bring us together again where we could get over this? Or do you think we're too far gone? I keep hearing people say that, but to me, they're too locked into that social media where I don't even know if they would know.
So this is where the enlightenment thing kind of comes into play, because the more you think about it, the more you manifest it, and the more often it happens. So I try not to, pay attention to it.
And how do you not when it's, did you pay attention to it 10 years ago, or were you just one of those people that never liked that?
In the simplicity of people getting hurt, it's tragic to no end. But when you think about all the shit you've heard behind it, why it happened, who was responsible, the real estate investments that took place the week before, and the insurance boosts and things like that, it makes you wonder. But in this grand scheme of things, you obviously know there's an agenda. The people that have the agenda don't want you to know about it. So the best thing you can do is just prepare yourself.
Yeah.
So
prepare.
Yeah.
That's the best way to go about it.
And it's, people get so gung ho with this doomsday prepping. Like, it might not be a doomsday situation. It might be a spiritual divide or something like that. And I think that's what it needs. If we're going to come together, it's going to be under love, not fear or something like that.
You want to hear something funny?
Sure.
So I had the guy with the highest IQ ever accounted. His name is Chris Langan. Higher than, really, higher than Tesla. Who's the other real high guys? Who's the other one higher? Einstein. Higher than Einstein. He's 260.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really interesting. So, and he's had some experiences, and he had to have some experiences because it taught him how to talk to a person like me and you. So for 30 years of his life, he lived in the woods because he didn't know how to interact.
Yeah.
And within a couple spiritual situations, he was able to, automatically, he's talking to you so he can go to our level, our monkey dumb level, right?
Right.
If he's talking to a neuroscientist, he can talk at that level. If he's talking to somebody with an extremely high IQ, not his, but close, then he can go to that level. If he's talking to a 2-year-old, he can go to that. Whereas before, everything to him was nuts. So 2 things that were wild about him. 1, say he wants to take apart a motor and put it back together. He looks at it before he goes to bed. He looks at it, stares at it, okay? Goes to bed, and his brain figures out how to take it apart, put it back together. And we played a clip, and the next morning, he literally took it apart and put it together. So you could say, okay, well, that's just a fluke, right? But there was 5 of them. I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah.
like insanely complex things with soldering and does it in like 1 hour. Put together an engine, bro, in 36 minutes. He knew what tool to go to.
That's crazy.
Like had it all out. He went online and he ordered everything that he needed.
Wow.
It came, he fucking did it. It was wild.
Wow.
And then I said, well, how, at the end, I said, I was blown away by everything. And he's with the, I don't know if you saw the Donald Hoffman one with the interface thing. That's
Show me.
That's a wall. Yeah.
I got you.
But I think he's right.
Okay.
And he agrees with him. So I said, what do you think happened? How does this change? And he said that, and I almost was like, oh boy, this is one time, even with Spotify, I might want to cut this one, you know? But I was like, fuck it. And he's like, the only way is that we all come together and we storm that White House and you say, you take the fucking broom. Mm-hmm. You go deal with the border. We're running shit. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, how else does it change? If we don't all come together and get rid of that power in there, mm-hmm. how does it change? Because you don't have the money and we don't have the money.
Well, here's the only thing I'll say in that retrospect.
A meteorite?
Not a meteorite. Choose my words carefully here.
Just fucking say it. Oh, you do have a job. That's right.
Yeah. Say what you said again.
So I had asked him, how does this end? How does this divide? How does this boy, girl, all this craziness that's constantly happening?
So you have to think of who we are and who's in charge. Okay. We are so hell-bent on our Second Amendment. I got my gun. Do you think that if there was ever a situation, these people aren't carrying 45s, they're not carrying machine guns, they got direct energy weapons. Yeah, you know, there's sound frequencies that they can play that would literally turn you nauseous and you would be incapacitated.
Satellites.
You know, so like, what are you really gonna storm the White House with a bunch of goons?
He said it in a more like logical way where the way I'm saying is like where a dummy would say it.
Yeah.
The way he said it, you could see I could see it being feasible even with, you know, the satellites and everything that they have. Basically what he meant was there's no way to stop it. And the only way would be is if the country comes together. Yeah. Now you take 30 states of people and you run up in it, you might take out a lot, but you're going to send a message. But I think it's fantasy land.
It's fantasy land.
Unless a major catastrophe happened where a lot of people lost a lot of loved ones. But then again,
I don't know. I think and it's, again, this is been my path for the last few years. I think it's a lot more of a mental perception. Okay. I think that all these things are done to instill fear. And then when you start making decisions based on fear, you're playing the game.
Yeah.
So the key is to stop playing the game. So I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. Bro, me and my mom used to beef over politics. She hates the dude Trump. I can't even say that word in the house.
Yeah. You know? Yeah.
But even though the things I'm trying to explain that have nothing to do with politics, it's more of a spiritual awakening thing. But I'm a firm believer that there's some sort of a timeline for these people, and it's coming to an end. And there's too many things that are happening with the earth and the sun to not see that there's a shift coming. And I see it in everywhere. People are becoming more in tune to love and higher frequencies and higher vibrations. When you do that and you don't pay any attention to the other stuff, kind of goes away. So we're having these conversations about people and political stuff, and I just don't pay attention to it, but I know what you're saying, you know?
A lot of people no longer have, do you have cable?
I have Hulu.
Hulu, but you don't have like a regular cable.
I do not.
A lot of people don't have cable anymore.
Yeah.
Hulu gives you everything that cable would.
Yeah.
Right. But I I mean,
they'll slide their commercials in there.
Yeah, they'll slide, but you know, it's a start. But I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But what's weirds me out is the younger generation. They listen to video games. Like they listen to other people playing video games. Twitch. Yeah. Like
I've seen all kinds of crazy. I've seen the new thing that I see pops up in my feed now is these guys sitting in their bedroom with the car set up.
Yeah.
Racing each other in some street racing game.
Yeah, that's Twitch.
Yeah.
That's Twitch.
Yeah.
But a person I'm referring to works for a very, 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 very high
and just listens to it as background noise.
Yeah, like instead of TV or music, he's listening to other people play games. To me, that's like just mind blowing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then in the grand scheme of things, like we're saying, unless there's like some hidden fucking agenda message in that, that would probably be better than the news and getting depressed and worried or whatever.
That's why podcasts are so huge now.
Yeah.
You know, you're actually passing time and learning something depending on what, you know, I'm sure there's podcasts for everything, but you know, it's a way to educate now. And I think one of the good things about technology being where it's at, even though it can be manipulated, is that you're hearing more points of views instead of your own little corridor we were in the 80s and 90s. You know, you basically, your information came from who you associated with.
Right.
Now you can learn whatever you want in 10 minutes.
Well, remember, you would go home and your mom or your dad, 5 o'clock news, nothing was changing.
That's it.
7 o'clock news, nothing was changing. But now it's so short. Now they've turned to podcasts where like something like this, you can listen to two people talk for 2-3 hours and really get out what they have to say, or if it's a candidate or whatever it may be. And I think these presidential guys or anyone like that, not using a podcast platform to death is making a big fucking mistake.
Yeah. There's millions of people.
Now with the news, I know you don't watch it, but just an opinion. Do you think that they're all working together? And let me throw this, because you do know that they've tried to indict Trump, or they did indict him 4 times.
Yeah, I hear that stuff all the time.
Okay, so if you're not all working together, the Democrats and the Republicans, you have plenty of reasons, if you're a Republican, to go try to throw Biden off. So in normal times, if someone punches, what do? You punch back. So they hit him 4 times, try to take his money, this and that. And the Republicans don't do anything. They don't hit Biden once. You have 500 reasons in a Republican state where you could go and say, hey, Biden should be off the ballot. And I'm not saying for Biden, for Trump, just generally. If they're not all working together to make sure Trump doesn't get in, because they know if he gets in, whether you like him or not, if you fucked him, he's coming for you. And that's both sides. I think they're all working together to make sure he doesn't get in, unless you could justify why. If you're really on the Republican side, why would you not hit back? You got one reason?
I couldn't tell you. What do you got?
Danny, I got none. Danny, you got one reason?
I mean, look, these people are known as conservatives. That's their party. So part of appealing to their base is being a conservative, being classy, and not getting into the mud pit with these people. You know, Democrats go much lower than Republicans. They'll do anything. Look, with that being said, if the Biden, you know, imagine if Trump's kids had done what Hunter Biden had done, Democrats would burn the world down. You know,
that's why
it's such a long conversation.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, if you just think about it, Trump is going to bury anyone that fucked him when he gets in there. It's not going to be nice. And if you're a Republican, he's taking you down with it because you lied to him, whether you like him or not. That's what he's going to do. So I think they're all shaking in their boots.
Yeah, I mean, I nobody likes change, you know, but you know, I can't really speak too politically. What I can say is that there definitely seems to be a national
Right. You take the political out of it,
Yeah.
and you just look at the situation.
I mean, who's control the way I try to explain it to people is you're hearing information from basically one source. The media outlet is no longer divided. It's all the same agenda.
Right.
So if you know, like I said before, if you know that they have an agenda, and you're obviously not privy to the information, the only thing you can do is start preparing yourself. So I think it's going to be an interesting year, to say the least. But I think it's going to be a shock to everybody, in 2024.
You do?
Yeah.
Which way do you think it goes?
I don't think it's going to be either of them.
No.
Yeah.
Can he?
Yeah. Oh no, I don't know.
You don't think it'll be Biden or Trump?
I don't think so. Wow. I think someone's going to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Hey, he's on another level right now.
Yeah.
Of like brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in my consensus. I don't know. It'd be a good debate.
Now, when you hear this is Paul Harvey, and he's saying, if I were the devil in 1960, just think about that, 63 years ago, right? 46, 63 years ago, right? Think about that. Play this, Danny.
If I were the devil.
Listen to this.
If I were the devil. If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States.
Listen to this.
I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of the serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old, I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. What'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure.
This is before AIDS.
In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
'60s were crazy.
That was crazy, right? Now that guy just says everything that pretty much is happening in the '60s. That will freak you the fuck out.
It's funny. There's a lot of things. So when I hear stuff like that for the first time, it automatically go back to things that I've heard in the past that resonate with that. So a few things that are pretty cool. They're somewhere, I don't know if it was the 60s or 70s, there's a Asian figure, political figure, might be a financial one, but he's talking about the demise of the United States, and specifically speaks about the media and, destroying the household and all those things. I think, yeah, there's another thing that I saw. It's called Interview with the Devil. And if you pull it up on YouTube, it's interesting to listen to it. And it's a guy that, lays it out for you. I don't know who does what, but there's a part in there that stuck with me, and it says the devil has his hands on 98% of the population. So it's the 2% that are left to battle the 98%.
Right.
So I'm the 2%, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as that stuff goes, there's good and there's evil. It's been that way since the beginning of time. So just as I am fueled by love and gratitude and things like that, there's people that are fueled with other emotions. And when you battle that, there's a series I go through. It's 3 steps. First, you try love, then you try compassion. If that don't work, distance.
Yeah. But what the 2 things I take from this is, 1, that the guy spelled it out like A to Z, and 2, society has changed so much to bullshit. There isn't thinkers like that anymore. Like, that is a long thought process, right? Like a guy sitting there, evaluating surroundings, evaluating what's going on. And within that evaluation, he's able to sit there and come up with, if I was the devil, this is what I would do. These like very strong thinkers. That's gone.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see anything like that.
It's rare, and it's again, this is by design. If you think about the food that they give the kids, and if you look at, boys now and boys 20 years ago, and you put them together on a football game, like, there's no question, like, there's something is happening. But I mean, you could go back to, what's your boy, what's the guy's name? Billy Carson.
Billy Carson.
We can talk about the Anunnaki all day and say that it's the good versus evil from that playing into today's society, and but you have to know how to play the game, and that comes with a lot of discipline, is what it is.
But everybody will say when they see that, how did he know that? How could he predict the future? And I said that too. But
this podcast is brought to you by Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet. Monster Energy is the ideal combo of the right ingredients in the right proportion to deliver a big bad buzz that only Monster can. Monster packs a powerful punch, has a smooth, easy drinking flavor. Athletes, musicians, co-eds, road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers dig it. You will too. Monster Energy is more than just the green OG. Monster has Monster Ultra, Juice Monster, Monster Hydro, Rehab Monster, Dragon Tea, Monster Max, Muscle Monster, and many more. Buy on Amazon, buy on Walmart, or go to monsterenergy.com, and believe me, you'll find a place. Unleash the beast. Monster Energy.
Who's it? Rockefeller, right?
Rockefeller,
Didn't he quarterback the whole education system?
He did.
Okay. And then I believe he's on record somewhere stating that I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being said, now you have the school system. You find out that the people that own, I think Ice Cube said, the people that own the record labels are the same people that own the prisons.
Yeah.
So there's a cycle.
Did you know that? That is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So the subsidiary of the record labels, each one of them own parts of private prisons, of record labels. Universal, Sony. It's wild. Wow, like that is the last thing you would think. Well, I mean, half the artists end up there, but not a joke. But I mean,
But still, there's like I said, there's an agenda. The hip hop music, the 808 drum beat, all that stuff is made to, and again, we could go back, whether we talk about politics, this and that, it's the vibration scale.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that vibrate on a high vibration, there's people that vibrate on a low vibration. And now the earth is coming to a point where it's going to start separating the two. So
that vibration, you know how Graham Hancock proved he had the best, because we were talking about pyramids, but vibration is a lot more than just how they built the pyramids, maybe frequency, but it's one of the ways they think it was done. And if there's anybody that fucking knows, in my opinion, it's Graham Hancock.
I was gonna send you a few things to pull up while we were having this discussion, but there was a video I saw. If you type in sound and sand.
Okay, which one?
So the third one. Yeah.
You want to find secrets to the universe? In case people are listening.
Frequency and vibration.
Now, what is that? So people are listening.
This is just a plate with a speaker underneath it. And then it has the frequency generator that makes specific frequencies and tones.
All right, so explain what's going on here.
So this is literally sand on a plate that is about to make a shape from sound, a pattern. You're going to see a pattern emerge in the sand just from a buzzing sound.
Rewind that a little bit, like 30 seconds.
Is it over?
No. I want to see it again right from that. Okay.
I think it's actually using salt.
Okay, so now he's putting this on this thing, right?
It's actually salt.
Salt.
Yeah.
Okay. And narrate while he's doing this.
And then as the frequencies get more intense, just watch. I'm surprised you haven't seen this.
Wow.
All right.
So how would you explain what that just is?
So if you just said that the pyramids were built with sound, that would kind of explain it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody's listening, how do we explain what just happened here? I don't know. You got to watch it. Go to Spotify or YouTube.
Yep.
So the frequency is making that move.
Right. So if you think of the Bible,
yep.
God said in the beginning there was the Word. He was speaking.
Right. That's the other thing about the Bible. How do you know what that meant? Right.
So
certain things.
I'm happen to have dated somebody that's very Christian. Very Christian. Like I'm not even gonna say religious, but very Christian. And I immersed myself into that for a little bit. But it's funny because the instant I started asking questions, everybody's attitude changed.
They were like,
no, they kind of just ignored me.
Ignored you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of the crew.
You know, that's the problem in science too. Because if somebody wrote something and then somebody just comes kindly and says, well, you know, why don't you just take a look at it this way? They don't have an open mind.
So this is where it took a turn. So I said that,
oh boy,
if Jesus was killed by the Romans, who's in charge of all the information we have about Christianity right now?
Was the
Roman Catholic Church.
Yep.
Right. So this book, if you know that there's 10 books missing from it, and this is your life is based on the Bible, wouldn't you be a little concerned as to what is being removed from it?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that's where I know Billy Carson has a lot to say on that stuff. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I think 4 hours with Billy.
Really?
Yeah, Billy got me on the.
I could talk to that dude for.
Yeah, he got me good.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the what was it? The stone tablets.
Oh yeah, those emerald tablets.
Yeah, I never heard of them. Mm-hmm. Nothing, and then
so one thing
a lot of that's in the Bible.
Yeah, one thing I do know, and this goes back to the presidents in the United States. Apparently, they all come from the same ancient Sumerian bloodline, royalty, except for one who was Van Buren. I think it was English royalty or something like that. But if you trace things back to ancient Samaria and stuff like that, this is where the spirituality starts to pick up and make sense, because They didn't have TV and media and all this stuff back then. So your entertainment was spirituality, basically, you know?
And you had to find within.
Exactly. So I have so many theories but when you talk about Jesus, his name's not Jesus, that they added that somewhere. But when you talk about who he was, what he was about, where he was from, and you take into consideration the vibration chart, everything he did was of high vibration. So there's a book missing from the Bible. It's the Book of 12, I think is what it's called, where it says, so in the Bible, and I'm prefacing here, so if I get ages wrong and stuff like that, don't crucify me. LOL. But he disappears in the Bible from like age 11 or 13 and comes back at age 30 or something like that. So in that time, the Book of 12 says where he went. And
where'd he go?
Egypt, India, and Tibet, and learned spiritual arts. So if he, in the science of it, reached the highest vibrational level where he now is communicating with God, then that's what we all are trying to become, you know? So,
right.
Yeah.
It kind of, you throw a little bit of David Icke in there. I don't know if you know who that is. Yeah, I bet him on 40. You know, they banned him in 40 countries.
Wow.
Just for speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him 3 months ago, 4 times. Ike will throw you for a trip.
He goes.
The last time though, he was very.
He's the one that
reptile.
He actually there was a and before I even knew who he was, there was a song that I heard by an underground rapper, and the intro is David Icke speaking about the box in the corner being the, you know, the bad, you know, all the bad stuff or something like that. And little by little, I start seeing reels and stuff pop up from him, and he gets it, you know. He's got the code.
And he had written all that in the 90s.
Yeah.
And they banned him from writing. He couldn't publish anything. And then as time went on, they started to be like, well, let's look at this a little bit more. And then I don't know exactly what he did that got him banned from 26 countries. But he had to go to a hearing, and the day of the hearing, I had him. So when he came on, I saw he wasn't in, because usually he's very smiling.
Yeah.
And I could see like, oh shit, what happened? And I didn't even know. And he's like, I'm banned. I can't. And he was on tour. He was doing the David Icke tour.
Yeah.
He got banned from 26 countries. And the whole premises of banning him originally was because he called Princess Diana a reptile. But what he meant is that he didn't mean she's a reptile. He felt, for whatever reason, and who knows, that she was on that tier 3 thing, or what, you know, he's got the tiers.
Yeah.
That she was on the tier 3 thing.
Okay.
That they're already here.
Yeah.
So I take Professor Donald Hoffman, Ike, the astrophysicists that aren't worried about funding, because the ones that are worried about funding, whenever you start to ask, you know, like the hefty.
Yeah.
They want to answer. Like I could see they want to answer, but they need that fucking funding from the schooling, you know, so you have to respect it. But Hoffman goes with the interface, that there's no space and time, that this is all created by the conscience, and that there's a one, and the one is God, but the one can't feel, can't smell, can't taste, touch. To make a very long story short, every single astrophysicist, scientist, neurologist in the planet went to this TED Talk, including Neil deGrasse Tyson and all of them.
Wow.
And Hoffman was there with the top mathematician in the world. His math is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the math says that everyone here has meta glasses on, and you don't know it. And the one would be God, because God wouldn't have an ego if there's a God.
Right.
And God can't feel, touch, blah, blah, blah. So when they kept trying to say that he was wrong, none of them could prove taste or smell. So if you can't prove taste or smell, you can't prove space and time. So if there's no space and time, this doesn't exist. It's created by your conscience, not your brain.
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't exist.
Right.
Okay. So your conscience creates you, this, this in my head. And your instinct is the one, or the God of space. The instinct is telling you to go this way on the grid, that way on the grid, that way on the grid. And you could say the one is God, so that God can experience death, love, so on and so forth. Okay. And then when you follow that instinct enough, then you become the God of the universe with God, and everyone's equal. And then you're here. So say like my mom died. So my mom could be right here. I have these glasses on. And that little instinct, that ghost maybe I saw, that's my mom saying, Tommy, don't fuck up. Do it right this time. And now when you take all of that, right? Any end, he happens to make Grand Theft Auto with the Chinese guy.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And one of his examples was, if you're driving the Ferrari, you have the controller, it's vibrating, it's moving, you're turning. And you have a choice. You can go down that road and pick up that bag of money quick to get more points, or you can go straight. Well, you made that choice to go right, and you got the money and you died, right? Game's over. Vibration's over. The city's over. And you look to the left, and there's the window and trees and skies. Just like the meta, just like the interface. You take these off. Oh, shit. There's where these fucking aliens are and everything else. So then he tries to get approval in the U.S. to study DMT, because these scientists, especially the neuro ones, they think that that's kind of like the breaking point, that DMT kind of gives you a glimpse of what's outside of these glasses. USA wouldn't let them do it, of course, even with every medical thing that they wanted. So they're trying to do it in another country because they have the math. No one can beat them. No one. But again, he has an open mind. So he went to that TED not to prove everybody wrong, because he wanted someone to beat it. So now that no one can beat it, they kind of all agree but don't agree.
I got you.
So now they want to see if the because when you die.
Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid. But as I got older, started working out, I had to watch out for sugar and empty carbs. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you'll love, but high protein and less sugar. The variety pack, 4 flavors, cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. This pack has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 net grams of carbs. Only 140 calories per serving. It's high protein, 0 grams of sugar, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. The fruity one, I'm done for. I can eat the whole box, no problem. Go to magicspoon.com/MSCS to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use promo code MSCS at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That says something. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of high-protein cereal at magicspoon.com/MSCS and use the code MSCS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
The last thing that's released is DMT from your brain and your liver. And you can't calculate the energy. We don't have enough numbers.
So I can speak in terms of, again, vibration. If we are third, what do they call it? Third,
it's like a tier thing.
Basically we're seeing each other and all this stuff because we're vibrating on a certain level. So who's to say that sitting next to us is not something that vibrates at a higher frequency that our eyes can't pick up?
That's exactly what he was saying.
So I could read into that a little bit, because if you think, how many times have you been like at the grocery store and you didn't realize somebody was standing right behind you? Well, maybe they were vibrating at a different frequency, you didn't see it until all of a sudden they're right next to you. You're like, oh shit, sorry. That's just a small 100%. Little.
And then, going back to the pyramids, Graham had put that, like a battery operated razor. He's like, we're in 2022 or whatever. That's nothing. 2022. How if they were on 100,003 before the meteorite hit them? Okay. Hit the vibrator. It moves from here to here. No touching it. It moves from here. So maybe I put this here in front of the razor. It could probably move that. Right. give me 50,000 years with that vibrating fucking razor. Maybe I can move that fucking tongue.
For sure.
Throwing some telepathic shit, this, that, the other. And then you can explain how those pyramids are all pointed.
I think in the near future, there's going to be some sort of unveiling of something, you know, because there's too much coincidence with science. And not only that, like I said, there's so much information coming out now that, you know, first of all, it's hard to accept, like, were we really that dumb and stupid these last 40 years?
Yeah.
You know, so what's the next 40 going to look like? You know, if we all figure out that, you know, there's a code to all this thing, we all break the code, like, is that how we escape what's going on? You know?
Well, you know, Carson.
Yeah.
He was the one, I thought he was full of shit, but he proved me wrong again. I fought him, but why I would fight him, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or think that he's wrong.
Yeah.
On some things I did though.
Yeah.
But there's an actual DNA code, like number code in every single human. Now that's really fucking weird.
So,
and I don't mean DNA code like that kind. I mean like a barcode. Do you know that, Danny?
There's a lot of...
It is wild.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they're finding out about DNA. One being that, first of all, there's no such thing as junk DNA.
Yep.
That your DNA is literally a map of the last 2 billion years or however old the universe is. And an interesting thing that I've seen is there was a gentleman that had it was a crystal bowl, filled it with water, held it at an angle so that the sun, you know how you get the waves, the ripples, and every person that came up to it, you could touch the side of the bowl and the pattern of the waves would change and be different for every person. So I think they say that when you look at DNA from the side, it's like a coil. And then when you look at it from the top, it's actually like a Mandela kind of thing. So, you know, that's... there's all kinds of codes.
And you know that spinning thing that's the DNA?
The helix thing? Yeah.
The helix, right. So in that spin there, every one of those spins has a code.
Yeah.
And they're all the same in, like, so mine is all the same. Every single spinning one is the same. Yours is different than mine.
Right.
And it's a code. Every single fucking person.
How does everybody on the planet have different fingerprints?
Like, that's hard to do.
That's crazy.
Like, whoever made that one, you got to give them a little bit of credit on that shit.
You get, it almost kind of proves that there's creation, you know?
The most, with the UFO thing, the thing that might have made the most sense to me was that they were already here and they were, let's just say 100,000 years advanced, right? And a block of them survived, but they were able to get out of here, maybe go to the ocean. I don't understand Antarctica. Why that's a no-fly zone. You can't go over there. What the fuck is out there? We can't go over there. Danny, you're real estate. Why can't we go fly over Antarctica?
Oh man, you're asking questions on something that I just have
but
no clue.
Isn't that weird though? You can't fly over Antarctica.
You can't. It's not even that. It's not even fly over.
You can't even like go there.
You can't even go there. Like, and then if you go, you get like
shot.
Not shot, but you can go on like tours, but they don't even really take you to like Antarctica. You're like surrounding area or something like that. But if you know that, I think it was like 60 something countries went and have, you know, bases there, and there's something going on there.
Fucking drones. Those things that we're fucking seeing.
So I think one of the things that I read somewhere was that there's a lot of old Nazi bases in Antarctica.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That would be
weird. Found Nazi stuff in Antarctica. Yeah.
See, what I think happened with this civilization that we're going, I think we're at the end of evolution. Like, I don't think there's no more to evolve. I think the next step is you evolve into a machine. And I think is that other civilization that lasted longer than us, I think they evolved to that robotic machine, whatever you want to call it. And they were able to get out of here. And I think they're here. I think they're here, but we can't see them. Some of them. And then the other, I think, is our shit that they're hiding from other countries or China. It's just our stuff. It's not theirs. They're only going to let you see what they want you to see. Okay? To think that they're here and they're just going to fucking crash is nuts.
So there was, I think, was it Eisenhower that signed
Yeah,
it was an actual contract or something like that with Valiant Thor was the name or something like that. So if they've been talking about it this long, they obviously know. And I guess what it comes down to is what you believe in. So like if you believe that scenario, one thing that I heard that kind of resonates with me is that some of these extraterrestrials are actually us from the future coming back to make sure that we follow
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, a specific path.
And then that would explain part why they're by the nuke sites, because this is their planet too.
So here's another thing. Let's say
this is kind of improving, by the way.
Let's say 50,000-year-old you has the ability to go back and tell you today, hey, don't do that, do this. Maybe that's where your gut instinct comes from. It's really somebody telling you, hey, careful here, or go this way, or be confident.
If you can bend time, first off, if you can build those fucking pyramids, anything's possible.
Yep.
I mean, anything. That degree.
Not even the degree. It's people still don't understand what they were used for. So there was they don't think they found any remains in these pyramids. So there's no King Tut's buried in them or anything like that. They're buried in outcroppings or something like that. But it's the fact that the pyramid used to be capped with gold, and they found mercury tunnels and stuff like that. Well, there's a lot of ancient scientific stuff, and I think Billy Carson talks about the Vimana things in his books, where those, I think it's zinc, mercury, and something, I think running water had to be present, creates energy. So it's these pyramids, I think, were energy creators of something, and also had a way to distribute information. Because how do you have all these different cultures that build similar looking structures?
And like the top, you could like throw a rock and it would hit the exact top of the other one. You know what I mean? Exact top.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty wild.
That's
but
wild.
Carson, Billy thinks that they were so advanced that they built they knew a meteor was coming way before it came. So say they knew in 100 years that meteor's coming and this one's going to hit. Because we're going to get hit again. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, we're going to get hit. It just happens.
Gotcha.
So he thinks that they knew it was coming through the vibration, the telepath, all the advancements that they were at. And because they didn't go this tech route and you have this car and I have that car, they went more within. So they came as one. And they built these big ass things with running water and everything to protect themselves from that meteorite when it came. Logical.
Got you, for sure.
Somewhat logical. Got to keep an open mind with all
for
this
sure.
shit.
There's nobody knows. You can take all the DMT you want.
Give me a piece of something. Until I have a piece of something, it's all guess. Other than Hoffman, because nobody could beat that math, but I'm sure somebody will at some point.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good start.
So what's the guy's name that was the whistleblower at Area 51?
Bob Lazar.
Okay, so he
made that.
Yes, really?
Yeah.
Wow. He
signed it, engraved it.
He says something about the technology operating on consciousness.
Yeah.
So if this is the beginning where everybody's waking up and we're understanding what consciousness is, and 10,000 years from now, maybe we are controlling spaceships with our minds.
Yeah.
What is it?
No way he's lying.
No.
I don't think.
No.
But what did they tell him though? He's not lying. But what was he working on? They told him he was working on some craft, but was he working on something that they had gotten this far and then they found the guy that was 16 putting, jet engines on a bicycle and thought, okay, this guy's a crazy tech guy. And then we can turn him into a loony bin if he tells anybody,
Could be.
You go down all those routes.
For sure.
But a guy who can keep the same story for 50 years, you're either the best fucking liar that ever lived or you're not lying.
Well, if you know what the capabilities of the powers that be are, the fact that the guy's still alive, either they're part of, what do they call it? Exposing it as part of the agenda, so who knows?
Can you pull up Garrett's Instagram when you have a chance? You got some cool stuff.
Oh.
So after when we were listening to the Devil guy, I was seeing this in my head the whole time because I had seen the Devil, and then when I looked at your Instagram, I go, "Oh shit, this is perfect with it."
Yep.
So explain what made you come up with this, and this is
I just copied this from somebody. I found it on a reel or something, but it makes sense. You know, it people don't ever think about the after effect of what they're doing.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage.
That's it.
Danny, think about that.
Yeah.
You go, a Big Mac doesn't cost $3.99. A Big Mac doesn't cost $3.99. It costs your health. Netflix doesn't cost $17.99. It costs your time. Social media isn't free. It costs your focus. There's always a hidden cost. That's a killer, right? That is killer.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. I try to, instead of having my page be all about, you know,
what you're going to eat today?
No, security and stuff like that. I'm starting to focus on other things, and you know, a message is definitely in there. So the more I can do now to help people, regardless if it's security or spiritual or health, it's, you know, I'm going to do my best to help people.
I love it. You got good stuff up there. Scroll down.
There's the Schumann resonance thing I was talking about.
Which one's that?
Right, the waves.
Oh yeah, the waves. Yeah, I saw that. I said, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
all righty, all right."
So the as a term of the Earth having a frequency, if you look 10, 20 years ago, the frequency looked nothing like that. It was all dull. Now it's all vibrant. Energies through the roof, so it's all good positive things.
Okay, so explain this to me. So we got 4, say, white thicker lines, and then under that there's no white line. So what does the white line represent?
The raising of the vibration, the higher frequency,
and that's good.
That's good. Yeah.
And then the lower is like the depressive and everything.
Exactly.
Does this have a thing to do with the sacred geometry?
Not necessarily. This is more like your body. The frequency, everybody has their own vibrational frequency, and you want to try to match the Earth as best you can, because that's where all your health benefits kind of come from.
And if you think about it, when before all this technology and everything, what were you within? The Earth,
yeah,
the grass, the ground, plants, everything. Now we're boxed in. Click out of that right there. That to the left, that one right there. Okay, so take us through this, because that goes right with it.
So I actually stumbled upon this quite recently, and it's a vibrational chart. So every thought, feeling, and emotion you have creates a vibration.
Graham Hancock would have a hard dick right now. I'm going to send this to him directly. He's going to have a hard on this one.
Gotcha. So in that aspect of even if you want to talk about your health or manifestation or the life you want to live, it all plays into this chart. So let's say
so let's start with guilt. Like, okay, so guilt's a 30. So explain that to me in the most dummy guy terms in the world.
Okay, so you took $20 out of your mom's wallet when you were 15 years old. You're 40 now, and you're still
dwelling on it.
Dwelling on that, that's grief. Another one would be,
and then that brings you down where you're like
depressed. Yeah.
Right.
Can I give my 2 cents?
Sure.
So the way that I'm looking at this chart is this. Say I've been a thief. Say in the last week I cheated on my girlfriend, I stole, and yada, yada, yada. And I go to a social event. I'm feeling closed in. I have anxiety. I feel terrible. And there's no way that I'm able to approach anyone else, right? On the latter, say I've been in the gym and I've been drinking water and, praying and doing everything that I'm supposed to do and calling my mom and helping my mom and helping others around me. Now I'm at higher on the scale. I'm feeling good.
Right.
Now I feel I can blend in and say hello and present myself, and I think to articulate his vibration scale is when you're feeling good, you are going to attract others that are also feeling the same.
And other people can feel that frequency.
Right. So there was a thing I just heard recently is that someone vibrating, and I'm just going to make up numbers here. Someone vibrating at 100,000 can boost the energy of 2,000 people. Someone vibrating at a 500,000 can boost the energy of 2 million people. So there's a thing about it, and I notice it too when I go out in public and things like that. People gravitate towards me, want to talk to me, you know, and 9 times out of 10, I'm the most antisocial person when I'm out. You know? Yeah. So, but even in that, you know, when you get uncomfortable and you're feeling the guilt, apathy, grief, fear, you have to stop in that moment and switch the motor. So they say one of the reasons that we come here is to learn how to manipulate energy. So learning how to manipulate the bottom half and transforming it into the top half is our job, basically, here.
That makes total sense.
Which I think, in my opinion, I don't know nearly as much as he does, obviously, but I would say this entire scale is built on your habits and your lifestyle. If you're doing right, you're going to feel higher.
And that's the
to the point where
you give off.
To the point where you might not get sick, you might not get a cold, you might not get cancer.
That's been fucking proven, you know?
Very proven.
That's, you know?
Yep.
When you're high,
thoughts become things.
You know? See, that one I have a problem with.
Okay, let's go.
Well, because, well, I just don't believe that. Not you, you're too big, security guard, armed, whatever you say, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when I see somebody go, okay, please let me have a good day at work today. We're going to have a great interview. We're going to be great. I want to throw up in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they do that, I'm just like, to me, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So
let's
pick that part.
Who'd you fuck over last week?
So we're gonna have a good time. You're automatically putting it in the future. It's gonna happen. It's happening now. That's the first part. So it's a great interview. It is. It's not gonna be. It is. You know, in that where it might affect you and anger you in a 150, you have to stop yourself and be like, this is a human being and I can't say anything about what they know or have experienced in their life. So I'm gonna let them have their moment, you know?
Okay. I'm 20 for 20 on these law of attraction. And what's the other one what's the other thing called when you like talk into the mirror and it's going to happen? Affirmations. Okay. Every person that's an affirmation guy or law of attraction guy, hypothetically, I've been fucked over and would like to take a slap, not a bat, not a baseball bat, just a little slap. Every single one. Because as soon as they do it, I know they're fake. To me, they're fake. Fake snakes don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I got you.
But that's also based on their body language as well. You know what I mean? So now if you would say it, I would be, and not because I don't want to get like rammed into the wall. No. I would say, okay, you actually believe that. I respect it. You know, maybe there's something to it with you. But a goofball, I'd be like, okay, you know, sell that to the next guy.
So it sounds crazy, but when you...
I think I've just had cheesy fucks say that to me.
Well, the thing is when you realize words are spells.
That's true.
That's why it's called spelling.
Yeah.
Okay. So your words have power. So where that person's affirmation might be whatever it is, mine is I'm strong, powerful, handsome, healthy, wealthy, and wise.
See, now that I like.
I look in the mirror every day and that's what I see.
That I like.
You know, and the focus is not to be those things so you look good in the mirror. It's so you can be of best use to the people around you. And when you realize that that's why we're all here, that there's an agenda, you might fantasize about being a football player or something like that, but it ain't going to happen because it's not what you're meant to be here at the moment.
100%.
You know, so this, you know, once we all realize that as we're speaking and going through our day, we're creating what's going to fucking happen tomorrow, you know?
I agree with that. You know,
yeah, me too.
There's been many times in my life where, like, when I got into real estate, I wanted to start to get into venture capital, and I'm not proud of this, but there's something about me where I start talking like I'm already there. Like when I started getting into venture capital, people would ask me about it, and I would say, "Oh yeah, I'm getting into venture capital," and like I hadn't done anything yet, but I started like putting it out there, and then it happened. When I wanted to become a real estate broker, I was saying, "Yeah, I'm about to start brokering real estate." And I think even sometimes I said, "I'm a real estate broker," and I wasn't there yet, but I was almost there, and then it happened.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the same thing, then I'm fully guilty of it because I've been following Dan Pena since 2014.
Who's
You know, oh, Dan Pena, he's the $1 trillion man. I've had him on a couple of times. He's no joke. He's really worth a trying.
Okay.
And basically, you go to his class, and he's not like the regular class thing. When you leave there, if you fought, so he's done 5,200 people. And
is that the guy that curses at you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's the man. Yeah,
great.
no fake guy. But when he, for whatever reason, he's calm with me.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he's very. I love the guy.
Yeah.
But I also tell him, like, you know, everything I've accomplished is him, and what he taught me. I wanted a Lamborghini. I had no money. I had a poster on the wall, and I would go to the Lamborghini dealership with zero money. And Dan would say that all the time. Go in there, smell the leather, keep going in, and go back. And eventually I had gotten that exact same one. And I told him that, yeah.
That's it.
And what he does is you go to his class, and you're you and I'm me, and we think we got it all figured out and tough. He breaks you down to a little bitch.
Yeah.
Like whatever your dad, your mom, you know, if your mom stuck her finger up your ass, he's getting it out of you.
Yep.
And breaking you down to where you're nothing.
Yep.
And then he rebuilds you. And then for a year, he's on your ass. You better answer that call. He networks you. And the least person that finished the 10-day class and the year is making $17.2 million a year. The least.
Wow.
Because he's that good. I mean, he's the fucking guy.
Yeah. So, you know, if you have the resources to build your own heaven, you know, then it just becomes a matter of taking the steps. You know?
Go back to that chart, Danny. Because on there, you know, when say you're fighting with your girl or you're fighting with a friend, okay, it's like you can feel a pin drop. You can feel the tension.
Yep.
You walk in that house or you walk in to go to dinner and you're not getting along. Everybody goes, oh, fuck. All right.
Yeah.
Walk in. What are we dealing with now? Right. We've all felt that.
Yep.
Now that's that frequency, right?
Yep, for sure.
So that example alone, just when you're fighting with your girlfriend, right? Or boyfriend these days. I don't know what the fuck is going on out there. I respect everybody to a certain extent, except for cats and humans.
Yeah.
But you can feel that negativity. So based on, if you can feel tension between two people, that's that chart.
For sure.
Because that's the frequency, that's the vibration that you just can't see it. So now when you're at the, you know, anger at the 150, how do you take yourself out of that and get to 600 at peace? And when you're really angry about a lot of shit.
So
and the reason why I ask is because somebody might be watching this on the edge of a balcony, and I'm not kidding.
So you have perception and you have perspective. So your perception of the situation is meaningless at that moment. You need to step back and look at the whole picture and then take two paths. If I continue and push and push and push, what's the outcome going to be? Going to be benefit, or is it going to be pain in the ass? If you soften the mood, change the subject, say, let's talk about this later, and approach it with class. Again, remember, love, compassion, and distance. So if you approach it that way, you have a much greater chance of getting what you want than with mustard. You know what I'm saying?
So, and what's the number like you want to average at? Like neutrality, willingness,
So enlightenment is the
well, that's like that's like the golden pie.
Right, but it's not too far fetched. To reach enlightenment, you have to understand that nothing is created on fear; it's all created on love. And then if you move from there into joy and peace, people ask me all the time, "Bro, are you happy?" And the only answer I have is I'm peaceful. Okay, happy. We'll cross that bridge when I get there. I don't know, but I'm focusing on those things, and the enlightenment comes from the knowing you have the ability to change the situation. So you can literally get rid of probably the bottom third of that list if you just live knowing that you have the ability to change your frequency.
That's a hell of a chart there. I really think that's a hell of a chart.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think that a lot of these need to be mixed. You know, you have to have peace, joy, and love, courage, and pride at the same time. So
yeah,
maybe be able to.
So that then it becomes a question of, when you get into the pride and anger and desire and all that stuff, what is your motive behind it? Is it to have your own riches and wealth, or is it to
that's the big
share?
thing, right?
Yeah. So it's
I could say about him, his motives and things aren't the riches. He likes money, but enjoys helping other people too. I mean, that's how much I know. Like
right.
He's one of those people.
One thing I've noticed in starting these businesses is that when money becomes the focus, everything gets tough.
Yeah.
When it becomes about helping other people, and that there's the whole, your boy and his mathematical code, there's a code in there that helping other people is like nitrous to your journey. You know what I'm saying?
The number one thing in any endeavor that I've always focused on, and I think Tommy can attest to this, is when people deal with me, they know 100%, 10 times out of 10, if I tell you something, my word is good.
I think that's those people tend to gravitate together.
Yeah, and then we're all sitting here in the same room for a reason.
It's fucking funny. Yeah.
And what were you talking about, the Schumann residence?
Yeah. So the Schumann
enlighten
residence,
me on this.
Yeah. So this is again, comes and all this stuff is, I don't read something and then just take it as fact. I go by my own interpretation and the way things, like I said, they said it would resonate a lot, but if I hear it and it resonates, I'll explore it a little deeper. So I didn't even know about the Schumann resonance. I had been grounding for the past year and a half. Shoes off. I go to
so you do ground.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Bro, I have a meditation room in my house.
I've been getting on my hippie tip as well.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not, I'm a skeptic when it comes to anything of that nature.
What's it called?
Grounding.
Okay.
Grounding
basically there's and I hate using the word, but there's a conspiracy that the shoes that we are wearing are created specifically to block the Earth's vibration, basically block us from picking up the Earth's natural vibration.
Oh, I believe that.
Right.
100%.
And then just like you saw with the sand, if your body's vibrating at the right frequencies, you're not getting sick. You're not aging as fast. You're not you're metabolizing your food and calories better. Like, it literally helps everything.
And you know what? We even know that medically from these lying doctors, that the cortisol levels increase stress, which lowers your immune system.
Yeah, and that's what one of the.
So we go back to the chart.
Belly fat is cortisol. Yeah. In that aspect, I had been doing that for a long time, and then I see something pops in my thing about the Schumann resonance, and then I explore it a little further, and I find out that this was the goal the whole time, was basically to have the Earth keep us healthy, whether it's the food that we're eating. And then something even more interesting was energy. So everything is energy. The sun is making plants that are energy. You're consuming the food, the cows, all this stuff is all energy. And the kind of got off topic there.
It's okay. It's called the Schumann resonance. How do you spell that?
SHUMAN.
Can you Google that? Schumann resonant. The Schumann resonances SR are a set of what's that? Resonance are a set of spectrum peaks in the extremely low frequency portion of the Earth's electromagnetic field spectrum. Man, you got to come in here when Graham's back in. Whenever he flies back in.
So that actually ties into something I'm doing with the sustainable gardening stuff. One of the things that I learned in my studies is that
adding tells you it all right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can increase the growth of your crops by inserting copper dowels into the soil. They got to be, I think it's like 3 feet into the ground and then 12 feet tall. So you probably need 15 feet. And then the electromagnetic field that it creates for those plants, they grow bigger, less pesticides needed. There's no bugs. It's a huge thing. Yeah.
You know, when somebody they had done the shrooms, the psilocybin, and it worked like piles, and they were like, when I went outside to walk on the grass, I thought it was living. I could feel it. I could feel it. So I researched it. So I started digging about, you know, the way plants move with the wind and all this other shit. And then when I got to trees, like when there's a storm, like you can see it, right? When you slow it down, it's like the tree knows when the storm's coming, not just by the fucking wind. It moves in a way where it won't break. So when there's massive, like say winds, the tree will try to guess which way it's coming prior to it coming. They slowed it down and it will slowly start to, even the root in the minute amount that the eye is tough to see. You have to really slow it. It literally fucking moves so that the wind or the storm doesn't crush it.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
And then the AI, you know, they started, you know, really using the AI with animals.
Yeah.
And they can prove that peacocks and all these other birds have languages, like full-blown languages.
Wow.
The dolphins and the whales talk, but then when they go to hunt, they have a third language. So the whales have a language, the dolphins have a language, but then when they go to hunt, they come together and they have a third language.
That's great.
And the AI is starting to be able to depict it. And they've gotten so far with the birds that the birds name their kids.
That's insane.
Name them. Every one of them.
That's insane.
They know that the polar bear, even though it only hangs out with the kid for like a week and then says, go fend for yourself, it names it.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
That's awesome.
Proven. No ifs, ands, or buts.
That's awesome.
You know, and when I say that, it all goes along with this. And I swear, I think that the past civilization, they were on that point where I think they could talk to those fuckers.
I mean, definitely.
And I think that there were, like, you know, Ike's thing. How do you have 7 million drawings in these caves with half human and half reptile? If none of that existed, I mean, did every single person tripping all the time? I mean, I know they have some really good mushrooms in Jerusalem.
Well, I mean, I just, if there was a period of time where reptiles ruled the earth, how long were they here? Maybe did they evolve into something that had a consciousness and could speak or something like that? Who knows?
To me, they did, because who the fuck else could survive an ice age? Reptiles could. Cockroaches never died.
Yeah.
Do you know how old those fuckers are?
Gators, alligators too are supposed to be millions of years old. Yeah.
You think an octopus is an alien? They really think that.
That's a funny one.
Do you?
Have you seen half the shit that they find at the...
Oh, yeah. I had an octopus fucking goddamn specialist in here. Listen to me.
Jesus.
They're on a whole nother level of shit.
Yeah.
These things can disappear, change colors. You don't even, they turn into a rock. No one knows.
It's really amazing to watch.
Unbelievable. And they have their own language. They take care of their kids. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, this means get over here with their 19 different hands. Like, these things are just wild. Look at that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, they're just on another level. Like, what the hell? You gotta wonder.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of science in one species for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And they can just mold into anything. And that's not even like the big dog.
Yeah.
And they're friendly. Yeah. But why do you think that we haven't dug into the ocean? You go up to space.
Yeah, so that I'm still on the fence about, and only because if you ask your Alexa
what she said,
when the last time we went to the moon was, it's like 1965 or 72 or something like that. So was it? Whatever it was.
When did we go to the
moon? Do you think we went to the moon?
July 21st, 1969.
Okay, so if that was the last time we went to the moon, we haven't been back there since?
It makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me. And then if you think about in 1960, we didn't have cell phones. We barely had cameras. So the odds of pulling it off are a lot better than there are now. So maybe they stopped doing it because, hey, we've been looking at the moon with our telescope for the last 3 days. You didn't fucking go to the moon. You're lying, you know? So
you don't think they went?
And
I'm on the fence.
The whole thing to cable boxes, which people.
And this was an interesting thing. There's a video footage of the ship landing on the moon. Who took the video?
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Who did a plane? Did someone jump down and like, yo, do that again? Like, let me get it on film. So,
and they did have quite a few whistleblowers come out and say that they set up a stage and all this shit.
And then if you see NASA and all the trainings that they do, it's all underwater.
Huh. All underwater. So you don't think we went, Danny?
Man, I'll tell you what, Tommy, you know me. I'm not a big conspiracy guy.
So I'm just curious to ask.
It doesn't make sense that we haven't gone back. It doesn't make sense that they streamed it. There's so many things about that occurrence that just don't make sense to me. So if I had to, I would guess 90% we didn't go.
You know what makes me think that solidifies it? Did you ever see the video of the atomic bomb?
Yeah.
When you got everybody running the other way, and
no, I remember seeing the mushroom cloud.
Okay, so with that mushroom cloud, when you zoom in, so when it starts, there's a car in front of. There's like a garage or a car parked in front of the building, and then the atomic bomb goes off, and the car's not there anymore. In other words, the car didn't blow up yet, right? So it's frames because you know how old. It's very old.
Yeah.
So the car's like right here. The atomic bomb goes off. It's off, and the car's gone.
Gone.
But there's not even enough time for the bomb to have blown up the car. Right. But they already moved it, and they played it over and over and over and over and over. Yeah, this here. I don't.
The question there is, if you've never detonated an atomic bomb and this is your first time, are you really gonna assume that you're standing far enough away?
No.
You know, like.
And remember, at that time,
we dropped it from a B5.
A B5.
Oh, is that what it was?
We dropped it from extraordinarily high up. Tommy, are you attempting to say right now that this is not real?
I don't know. I don't know because if I don't know how you would find the video, but if you found the clip, see if you can go into YouTube and say the fake atomic bomb explosion or something. There's literally a car there, and then in a two frames the car isn't there. It's hard to find without really digging. Probably, I don't know. Maybe just that particular video, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe the car moves or something.
I don't know. See, the thing is that the only thing I can say in your defense is with all the AI stuff these days, you don't know. They could make a video and tell you anything's fake, and you'd be like, "Oh, wow, really?" You know.
And that's another thing. You know, as this progresses, how are you going to know what's real? It goes back to the devil shit.
That's it.
You know,
want to confuse everybody.
What is real and what's not? Everybody's confused now. Are they a woman? Are they a girl? Or there's no more alpha. Nope. Alpha's out the window.
I literally had a conversation with somebody on Facebook the other day, and masculinity is frowned upon these days.
Yeah.
Period.
And that's what the Tates originally were trying to do. You know, they came from eating chicken out of, like, they were homeless, poor. Tristan and Andrew.
Oh, the Tates, yeah.
Yeah, no, they were dead broke.
Mm.
They were dead broke. You know, Tristan's got a real good head on them, and their lawyers, they got a good lawyer.
Mhm.
But you know, when you're in that and they don't want that masculinity out there, just like they're doing to political figures, whoever it may be, it doesn't, you know, everybody's Trump. It's anything that is getting in the way of the agenda. And if Andrew Tate was getting too many views and becoming too much of an influence, and people were starting to want to be an alpha male again and walk around with their shirts off, whatever the hell it may be. Okay. The whole shit that happened, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't buy.
What I do know is
3-step process. First they slander you, then they put you in jail, and then they just kill you.
And they didn't have a reason for them. And that girl that went out there paid for her own flight to go out there. They forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Their lawyer was in Joseph McBride, which if I ever need a lawyer again, that's the guy. Fucking guy there, boy.
There's always going to be good people that resist these people. You know, I could tell you're one of them. With a security company, it's interesting to see your perspective on the vibration and the good and the love and everything like that. That's such an interesting dynamic.
Oh, well, he had a moment.
People think guys that are big and strong are just brutes.
So what do they say? Tough times create strong men create easy times create weak men.
There you go. And we're at the capital ASY. Last two things. These shootings going on, right? All, like, say, school shootings, whatever it may be. Even a serial killer. Do you think that they're born like that, or there is something that sparked?
It's programming. Yeah.
Something programmed, not born.
No,
something had to have happened.
Kids, when kids are young, you know, I'm not gonna say babies because they can't really, socialize too much. But young kids, if in the proper, they're a product of their environment. So if you're coming from a loving, caring household, you're going to grow up to be a loving, caring person. If somehow you're programmed in a different way, then what you think is normal is really psychotic behavior.
I agree.
I
agree. Yeah. Because I always say they're born like that, this, that, the other. No way. No way. Something happened.
We're born loving creatures, and we veer off the path at some point. Is what it is, for sure.
And I put that with all this confusion. Like, where are your parents? Like, where are your parents when you're asking, hey, I'm playing with a Barbie and I'm a guy. Where are your parents saying, it's all right? It doesn't mean anything.
Well, I had a Ken doll when
Me too.
I was a kid. I didn't have a Barbie. I had the Ken doll, but my parents, that was never a thing. Like,
can you imagine?
I had a girlfriend in I think I literally had a girlfriend in daycare, like before kindergarten.
Girls since the jump. I mean, it had to have been third grade. I was telling this girl, I really like you. You know that, right?
My first kiss, I don't know if Elizabeth Hauer.
This girl's name was
first grade.
Yeah, it was definitely 3 teddy bears.
Taller than her.
3 teddy bears daycare somewhere here in Fort Lauderdale, and her name was Stephanie, and we used to make out under the tree at recess.
and right now that probably would be like sexual harassment, or
the school would get shut down for weird,
But if it was 2 humans dressed like a cat, it would be okay. Yeah. And if you say anything, you would get detention.
I choose to not get involved.
Yep. You got the right mindset.
Let the clowns have the circus.
My 2 cents on all the school shootings is sheer mental illness.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it like we've been talking, this is what they want.
Yeah. So it goes back to the food, the shit they watch on television. And if you're able to put an ad on my phone because you heard a conversation, or I have my own specific algorithm, you know what I'm going to purchase or what I need to purchase, who's to say that there's not a way to find out if somebody is on the edge of being mentally unstable and can be persuaded to do some crazy shit,
Exactly right. And before you move, pull up, Danny, his plus site with the villas and the car. I'm going to do that villa. I'm going to do it.
Let me know.
You can't
I'll
beat
take
it.
care of you.
You can't.
Then you get to.
You can't beat it.
So we sold the house last year. might be 2 years already. 2 years ago we sold it. It's still on the market as an Airbnb.
That fucking place is the shit.
That was amazing. I used to call it my office.
I would call it my office too.
Yeah.
And you could do that for 1 day, 1 night, 2 days.
So we had a 3-day minimum.
You have a 3-day minimum?
Usually someone would grab it for a week, or we've even had the owners of Walmart in there for a month.
Yeah. That was a nice one, right?
A nice check.
It is beautiful though.
Yeah.
How many bedrooms is that?
7 bedrooms.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, 9 bathrooms.
Hey, save up your money and go over there.
Yeah.
And you're not like skyrocketing in price either.
Yeah.
I mean, you could really drill people for a lot of shit they have.
Yep. So this would typically go $2,500 to $3,000 a night.
For 7 bedrooms in a villa? And then do you have cheaper ones?
Oh, yeah.
So there's different
There's a couple there's some that are still on the water with a pool for like $700 a night.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's better than a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You have a house.
Privacy, all that stuff.
Now, one last thing with the drugs, like the weed, like at least here, has that made law enforcement or bodyguard, whatever you want to call it, any harder? Has it nothing?
No, I mean the worst intoxication is always an issue, but I don't really see too much drug related stuff. I mean, you hear a lot about the fentanyl thing, but as far as security, I stay away from like the hip hop community and stuff like that where drugs are more prominent. I mean, you couldn't pay me enough to do a hip hop artist these days.
I can't imagine what you'd have to deal with.
Do it.
Not only the risk, right?
Yeah.
With your insurance. Right?
Yeah, that's like I said. We farm it out to another company because I don't even want to get involved.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But and when you think about it, who's running around high creating problems like on weed?
Oh no. They're home. Munchies, want to watch TV, play video games, and stuff like that.
And mushrooms, who's going out wrecking it? No, ain't doing shit.
It's
it's like the alcohol, the heroin,
Yeah.
the crazy shit, the crazy shit. So everybody go to give everybody the websites, the best place to find you. Go.
That's it. So we got +1 concierge. You can find us the best that way. I think my phone number might actually be on there somewhere. Yep.
Oh, yeah,
You can call us, text us, email us, Facebook, Instagram. And then if you mention the Mscs community, we'll give you a little discount.
Oh, there you go. Get a discount on one of these yachts, right?
That's right.
That's it.
It helps.
All right, man. Well, next time we're going to get a shaman in here, and we're all going to have a good time.
Bring a couple of the goons with
Have you gone with any shaman?
No.
We got to go with a shaman.
I'm still, like I said.
You're not at the shaman level yet?
No, bro.
You're at the hyper-frequency vibration of shaman?
I feel it. But for me, at least, I'm not supposed to look too far behind the curtain. I mentioned that earlier. If you pull up my Instagram again real quick.
Yep.
So you'll see the one that's a blue dude, Indian style, sitting, keep scrolling. Right there. Click on that. So this is where I think I'm at in life.
One who has achieved enlightenment but continues to aid in the enlightenment of other understanding. They will never truly be free until they are free.
All are free.
All are free. That's one you got to read like 5 times to comprehend it.
So basically what I think my job is to bring other people to where I'm at. The understanding. And a bodhisattva is somebody whose journey throughout time is to come back and do this shit over and over and over again until we all get it.
No, that's what Hoffman says.
Yeah.
The guy I'm telling you about that I'm 100% dead set he's right. That until you do it right, you live this over and over and over. And then once you get it right, then you become God.
Yep.
With the gods of the universe, whatever you want to call it. But until you get it right, you're doing it over and over.
Yep.
And I think that's accurate.
That's it. 100%, bro.
But don't stay away for so long, man.
I will.
Right down the street. You got to pop in every other month or something, man. I know you're busy, but easy, cool conversation, man. Appreciate it, man.
Definitely.
Day one guy right here. Always.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Danny.
Proud of everything you've done, brother.
Oh, proud of you, man.
Cheers.
You look great. You're doing great.
Appreciate
Got the new vibe.
it.
All righty.
Cheers.
This episode is sponsored by Aurora. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is? For years, this crime rate has been surging and affecting millions of Americans. I'm talking about identity theft, and there's a new victim every 14 seconds. Yet despite this, those who have had their identity stolen are often shocked when it happens. That's why I'm excited to partner with Aurora, who is sponsoring this video. Aurora is identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management, and antivirus software all into one easy-to-use app. Their VPN allows you to stay anonymous online by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. Protect you and your family from America's fastest growing crime. Try Aurora for free for 2 weeks and see if you or anyone in your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial today. Go to aurora.com/MSCS. The link is in the description below.